Hello, parents. If you're watching this, it means we have had to pivot to online learning. And I know this isn't ideal for your child. I know it's not ideal for you. It's not ideal for me either. But I'm going to explain in this video how we're going to make it work in science the best that we can. So here's what you need to know as a parent. The first thing you need to know is I've made a video also for your child to watch that's more centered on them and what they need to do and how we're going to do it for my science class. From your side of it, it's going to be very similar actually. If you watch theirs and yours, you're going to see a lot of similarities because I need to tell you to make sure that you can reinforce what I told them. Basically, the first thing you need to know is that I don't use Schoology very much to deliver them their information. That's just a choice I made years ago. The reason for it is not to try to be contrary. I just don't really work in Schoology that much because everything we do, our presentations and our projects are all in the world of Google. So there's a hosting site called Google Classroom where you organize all things Google. It's free. The kids know it. If they've been in school at least a couple days this year, they know it. They already have it bookmarked on their computer. So what you need to know is that if they go to Schoology looking for the science information, it's going to just direct them back to their Google Classroom. It's going to say, hey, remember, go back to Google Classroom for all things science. So it shouldn't be a big deal. It's just going to send them to here. Other than that, they're going to be able to turn in things and see everything in Google Classroom. Okay, so we're looking at a Google Classroom page right now, and I tried to put in like a fake assignment to kind of show you what it would look like if we had to do this. So your child would already have their Google Classroom page bookmarked on their computer. They would go to it, and the way that I'm thinking about it right now is we're supposed to require the kids to work for about 20-30 minutes a day on our subject without us, and then a 40-minute session with us. So for the time that they're not with me, for the time that they're asynchronous, what I told them to do is each day there would be something for them to go look at. So a presentation. So in this example, the presentation that I would tell them to go look at without me is Animal Adaptations 2020. Now, if they went to this presentation, it would just take them through the basics of animal adaptations, how animals are adapted, why animals are adapted. There would be audio that I told them about where they would listen to me talk about it. There on some pages would be videos for them to watch about different animal adaptations. There would be text for them to read on different pages. But basically, they would just go through the entire presentation, learning about, in this case, animal adaptations. Now, they could do that without me because I'm there talking to them through their presentation. Then, ideally, they would do that in the morning before we got together, because then the idea is that when we got together, it would be through Zoom, and each block is going to have a certain 40-minute block to be together. So, for example, my kids in block 1, they're 9 o'clock to 9:40 every morning. So what I told the kids is from 9 o'clock to 9:40 every morning, they would need to be present in class. I would need to be able to see them in the Zoom meeting. And what we would do then is two things. We would go over the presentation that they already watched. I'd see if they have questions. I'd tell them more. We'd go into more depth. If there's some kind of demonstration I could do on my screen that day, we could do that. But basically, we would talk about what they've seen. And then we would talk about what they're going to do with that topic. So each week, not each day, but each week, they would have some type of presentation that they're going to work on, kind of about the overall theme. So on the week where it would be about animal adaptations and things like that, there would be a presentation called My Animal Adaptations Presentation that they would do for me. So on this presentation, just as an example, they would basically go to this presentation. Directions are on there. So, and my audio voice is on there. and they would say, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. I would explain this to them in class. And then for the rest of the week, they would actually work on finishing their project. And quite simply, when they're done with it, they're going to have a little blue button here. It says, it either says turn in or submit. I forget right now because I'm looking at it in my mode, not theirs. But they have a little blue button. And when they're all done with the presentation for the week, they would just turn it in to me. And then from my end of it, I would be able to see all the student work pouring into my computer, and I would be able to give them feedback and grades all through Google Classroom. They'd never leave Google Classroom for science as far as getting feedback, grades, their work, everything is through this. If they forget to click that little blue button, I don't see their work, and then I'm going to have to communicate with your child to make sure that they know, hey, when I'm done, I have to turn it in, because that's how I'm going to give them grades. That's how I'm going to give them feedback. So, as parents, you need to basically just know that in 5th grade science, you want to send them to their Google Classroom page. Remember, Mr. Brooks uses Google Classroom. They'll know that. They have their own video, and we've been working with Google Classroom however many days of school they've been in school before we had to go online. So this is not new to them. This is something that they've already become accustomed to. But everything will be housed there for them. And as far as if you're wondering about grades, I think the way that the school is doing it, this is August right now that I'm saying this, I think it will be, if you want to see their grade in science, you'll go to the Home Access Center to see current grades in science. If you're not sure and you're like, okay, I really want to know how they're doing, just email me. That would be the best way to say, hey, I'm not exactly sure where I'm looking for their grade. How are they doing in science? And I can let you know. And we can work with them if things are not going well. So at this point in August, as I'm thinking about what this might look like later in the year, I think that's what you need to know right now. If you need to know more, I'll communicate more in the future. So I look forward to working with you and your child in this online setting, and we'll continue to accomplish great things. Thanks.